This is the question from Unit 2, a number 10, and we're going to go through A, B, and C in this video. The triangle has vertices at A, 2 and -2, B, -4, -4, and C, 0 and 4. So I've set up the triangle here. Part A says we want to find the equation of the line that contains the median from vertex A. So I've drawn the median from vertex A. So that line, that green line, is going to cut BC in half, because median means I want the line from A that cuts BC in half. So then this side, or this part of BC, has to be equal to this part of BC, so cuts it in half. Therefore, to cut BC in half, we need to find the midpoint. We'll call it M of BC. And we can use the midpoint formula. M is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2 and y1 plus y2 over 2. We're going to use that formula. I used points B and C, so -4, 4 and 0, 4, to find the midpoint here. I used the formula here in red. I added the two x values divided by 2 and added the two y values divided by 2. And then I end up with the midpoint being at -2, 0. Okay, so we found the midpoint. Once we find the midpoint of BC, which is -2, 0, we can use the midpoint of BC and A to determine the equation of the line going from vertex A to the midpoint of BC, so the equation of the median. So I'm going to use these 2 points to determine the equation of a line. So how do we get an equation from 2 points? We need to get an equation in the form y equals mx plus b. If we have 2 points, we can determine the slope, m, and then once we determine the slope, use the 2 points to find m first. We used x1, y1 and x2, y2 in the slope formula to get the slope of -1/2. Now we have to find b, because we need y equals mx plus b, because that is an equation. We found the slope, we found m, so that will go in here. Now we need to find b, so it's here. We can use a particular x and y in order to find b. So I think I'm going to use the first point. So I put m equals 1/2, and I used the midpoint the midpoint point, so -2, 0. So I put in 0 for y, -2 for x, and then -1/2 for m. So -1/2 for m, -2 for x, the 0 for the y, rearrange to get b. Putting -1 in for b and -1/2 in for m, I get y equals -1/2 x minus 1, and that will be for the green line that gets us from A to the midpoint of BC, so the equation of the median. So as you can see, y equals -1/2 x minus 1 will be the equation of the median from A to BC, or this green line in here, in this picture. For question B, we have to find the equation of the line of the median from B to AC. And the green line is on the graph, which we'll see in a moment. So we need to find the midpoint of AC using this formula. So using the midpoint formula, let's label A x1, y1, and C x2, y2, and then use the formula to find the midpoint. Using the formula, I found the midpoint to be 1 and 1. And you can look at from B to AC, the midpoint of AC, it does look like it's 1 and 1. Okay, we need to find the equation of that green line. We need to get it in form y equals mx plus b. We can find m and find b, and then we'll have the equation. To find the slope, we'll use the slope formula using the midpoint and b. Using the slope formula for the midpoint of AC and the vertex b, because that is the green line in our picture. Label it x1, y1, x2, y2, plug it into my formula for the slope, and I get slope of 1. Okay, so we still need to get our equation in y equals mx plus b form. So we found m, now we're going to find b by using m and 1 point to find b. I found m was 1, and now I used the slope m and one of the points, either the midpoint or the b, the vertex b. I decided to use vertex b to isolate for b, and I get little b equals 0. I figured out b equals 0, and now I'm just going to put m equals 1 and b equals 0 into the equation to get 1x, y equals 1x. This is the equation of the median line. So to recap, we wanted the equation of the median from B to AC, B being this vertex, to this line AC. We wanted the equation of this green line. This green line cuts AC in half, so these two segments are equal. To find the midpoint of AC, so that those two segments are equal, we needed to use this formula. We ended up with the midpoint at 1, 1. Then we needed to find the equation, but in order to find the equation in y equals mx plus b, we needed the slope m and the y-intercept b. I found m using the formula, but I used the midpoint here and the b vertex because I want, of course, 2 points that lie on that green line. So it doesn't make sense to use a or c. I need to use b because it's on that line, and the midpoint because it's on that line. Found the slope to be 1, and then I substitute that slope into the y equals mx plus b formula here. I substituted in the slope of 1 and -4 and -4 for y and x, because -4 and 4 were the vertex b, so I could just use 1 point. I determined that little b equals 0, and then I put it all back into the equation, and the equation of this median is y equals 1x. Okay, for the third and final part, we are asked to find the coordinates of the point where the median from vertex A, so our yellow line, and the median from vertex B, the green line, where they intersect. We found the equation for the yellow line, that was y equals -half x minus 1, and we found the equation for the green line, that was y equals 1x. Now we just have to solve that system. Using substitution, because they're both in y equals form, it made the most sense to me. So -1/2 x minus 1 equals 1x. Solving that, I end up with x equals -2/3. Again, I need an x and a y in order to solve a system, so I now need to find y. Okay, so I put x equals -2/3 into the second equation, 1x, and I got y equals the same thing as x. Looking at the picture, I want to verify that that point makes sense, that it's -2/3 and -2/3, and it does.